Hello, I'm Don Polden. I'm the director of the Center for Global Law and Policy at Santa Clara University School of Law. Uh, and I'm very pleased to spend a few minutes with you talking about the requirements and expectations and the things for you to think about in connection with your uh, externship this summer. Um, a couple of things. First of all, our placement procedures with respect to our summer programs vary by the program. And so already some of you have received this placement information. Some of you will be getting placement information later, including perhaps during the summer program that you'll be attending in connection with this. The program directors who are setting these up will often contact you by email and ask you what you're interested in, would you prefer A or B, that sort of thing. So get back to them quickly with respect to those questions that they would like from you. You should have received by now a beginning date and end date for your internship. They vary depending on whether it's a 3 credit hour or 4 credit hour internship. So we tried to get these out to everybody so that you could arrange round trip air transportation. If you don't have those dates yet, please let us know at the email or email me, dpolden@scu.edu, and we'll get that information to you as quickly as possible. How should you prepare for your internship opportunity this summer? The obvious, go to the website, spend some time learning about the organization, the people in the organization, their goals, their mission, who their client base is, the particular office you're in, if there are multiple offices, or departments, if there's litigation and transactional and that sort of thing. And that's a great way to get started. If you've been introduced electronically with a supervisor there, please follow that up with promptly with an email saying how excited you are, and I know you are excited to have this opportunity, and if there's anything that the supervisor would want from you before you go. A few of the internship placements may have some pre-initiation, pre-start materials, forms, documents, that sort of thing that they may want you to fill out. So a quick email to the supervisor when you're introduced to him or her is a great way to start that relationship. So I've been talking about supervisors. You have essentially 2 supervisors for this. The one on the ground is your we call them field placement supervisors or field supervisor, and that's the person in the law firm or the office, the law office that you're working with. He or she may delegate some of your duties to someone else who should be a lawyer in the office. So I'm going to use the term field supervisor in this discussion, so you have some sense. It's either that person or his or her designee, okay? The other one is your faculty supervisor. In most instances, that is the program director for the academic program, the courses and that sort of thing that you attended this summer. So they both have discrete sets of responsibilities with respect to your internship experience, and both of them have a significant say in how you're evaluated and graded for purposes of this experience that you have. So how do you get credit? Well, you have to do 50 hours in the internship for each credit hour, 50 contact hours in the office, in your seat, doing the work that you're requested to do by the field supervisor for every credit hour. So you got to keep track of your hours, just like a law firm. Keep track of your hours. The field placement supervisor is unlikely to ask you for this, but please keep it in case there are any questions or with respect to documentation that we may need. You'll also be asked to sign a memorandum of understanding. This is a new requirement on our programs. It's imposed by the American Bar Association, our accrediting agency, and it's a document that you need to read, sign, And it will also be signed by the faculty supervisor and by the field supervisor. It articulates in there, very general term, what everybody's duties are. And so you're agreeing to the things that you sign and agree to in them. They're not onerous. They're the things that you would expect. Confidentiality, punctuality, completion of the 50 hours, et cetera, et cetera. So that's an additional requirement. Importantly, throughout the time, 3 weeks, 3 weeks or 4 weeks of your field placement, you'll be asked to do weekly summaries. And these are kind of reflective pieces in which we ask you to describe what you've been doing, your experiences, perhaps link them to important learning objectives that you had. I sat in a deposition. I was able to help prepare for the deposition. I interviewed clients with respect to a pending transaction, et cetera. These are meaningful for your professional career and your work, both in your second or third year here in school and thereafter. So we want to find out your perceptions on how valuable these experiences are for you. Upon enrollment, we will be setting up a course for the International Summer Internship in our law school and university Camino system. I know many of you, perhaps all of you, are not Santa Clara students, so you may not be familiar with Camino, but it's a very popular commercial system. It's an embedded, secure system. It's managed by professionals here at the university. We use it for virtually all of our course interactions between students and faculty members. On this Camino site for our internship course, you'll be asked to receive information from the faculty director. You'll be asked to prepare and upload documents, weekly documents, as I just described, summaries of your week experience. Our faculty directors are then expected to review your weekly summary and then send you a note back. And this looks great. Here's something you might think about. I'm sorry about this experience, but here's a way that you may want to deal with that. So there's an interaction that is educational in nature and, importantly, very supportive for you. So if you're having a problem in your placement and you're not getting any help from your field placement supervisor, you do want to take this in all event, whether it's through the Camino weekly summary or in an email to your faculty supervisor to try and get that straightened out. At the end of the course, the faculty supervisor will get a summative report from the field supervisor saying that you did terrific, here are some things you did well, here are some things that you can improve on, etc. And based on that, and also a report from you and your weekly reports from you, the faculty supervisor will be assigning a grade for your participation, involvement, and performance in this field placement. So what are you going to be doing during the summer? Well, that varies. There's no set script that we have on everybody is going to pick a jury, everybody is going to take a deposition. But we can assure you that what you've been asked to do is to do things that are appropriate for your skills, knowledge, and experience. You're rising 2Ls, rising 3L students. So it's unlikely that you're going to be asked to argue a path-breaking case to the National Supreme Court where you are. However, it's likely that you'll be asked to do the sort of things that law clerks do here in the United States. Many of you have experience with some of that from internships that you've had. And they are preparing documents, perhaps preparing for trial, working in strategy sessions with other lawyers, preparing for things. A lot of it's a kind of mundane work that lawyers, young lawyers, new lawyers do But hopefully you'll have an experience with your supervisor to go to court, to sit in on a transaction and listen to the negotiation discussion, what have you. So look for those opportunities. And again, if you're being asked to pick up the managing partner's dry cleaning or take her car to the car wash, then that's not what we want you to be doing. And if you feel uncomfortable raising that issue with your field supervisor, then talk to your faculty supervisor, and we'll get it straightened out. I want to mention one thing. In virtually all of the places you'll be going to, law as an undergraduate endeavor. United States and a couple of other countries are the only ones where it's a postgraduate professional education. So I mention it because you may be in an office, either number one, where there are undergraduate externs from the local law school, and you need to ensure that your level of training, experience, background is being recognized. You're not the top of the heap, so to speak, but the work that you do should reflect that. And secondly, also, you may want to find a way to very appropriately and professionally let folks know that you do have an undergraduate degree and that you are at a graduate professional program in the United States, in case they don't know. So just a little tip there that may save you a few awkward moments if you're in a situation with a number of undergraduate law schools from that country. Key to this whole exercise here, in my opinion, is good professional ongoing interactions between you and the field supervisor or his or her designee. Touch base with them, find ways to do some interaction. Don't be annoying. I know you won't, but certainly you should touch base with them. Let them know how you're doing, and certainly if you're having a good experience, let them know. If there's something that's a problem, let them know. And that's a terrific way to make sure that that these weeks that you spend in the internship are worthwhile, meaningful, and help you in the next step as a professional. The next topic I want to mention is research tools. You'll be able to access your LexisNexis, Bluebird, what have you, accounts either generally, individually, or through your law school's affiliation and contracts with those organizations. We're not quite sure if there are filters or that sort of thing that may require some sort of a translation setting or what have you. And also, you may be in a situation where some of the research that you need to do is not translated. And so you'll need to work with your field supervisor and professionals in the staff. Most of our placements in the private law area are ones in which English is spoken pervasively, and that a lot of the legal work is in English, either with British law firms, American law firms, or what have you. But it's not a guarantee, it's not a promise. So be flexible and be thoughtful and be enterprising when it comes to trying to do some first-rate investigatory work that your case or assignment may take you to. In all of our internships, we assure our field supervisors in their organizations of the absolute and appropriate confidentiality that you as an intern working in their office is going to take with respect to the materials and information you get while at work. I know many of you have not had the professional responsibility course, but you'll learn quickly that this is one of the most important things that lawyers need to do. They have to keep that communications, information, things, data, materials concerning a client absolutely confidential. I won't insult you by stating the obvious. Don't upload things about how much fun you had in a client discussion on your Facebook page. Don't send notes to people, even loved one, family ones, people that you confide your personal business with, anything about your clients. It's appropriate often to talk about this as a matter within the law firm, within the law office, as appropriate. But other than that, you don't reveal those materials, and very often you're not sure whether they're confidential, whether they're sensitive, or whether it's a public document posted someplace. Always err on the side of confidentiality. That's always the really wise thing to do in these situations. Make sure that when you leave the country that you don't have any materials that you put on your laptop from the law firm. Or if you do, you need to, at some sort of an exit interview, talk to your supervisor and say, hey, listen, I wrote this great memo, and I would really love it, for the transaction or the litigation, I would love to take it with me. Is that okay? But short of that, I think you want to make sure that that's all cleansed and that you don't leave your placement there with any information, whether you know it's confidential, whether you think it's confidential or not. Dress and conduct, I probably don't need to tell you that much about this, but a piece of advice here, you don't know if that placement is business casual or what have you. You're pretty sure that you're not going to be going into field placement in the public law area, the private law area, where folks are in jeans and sweatshirts. When you go in, wear a coat and a tie, sport coat suit, that sort of thing, or business appropriate apparel for women interns, and scope it out. You'll go in there and you'll be able to tell. I'm pretty confident that the placements that you'll be going to are virtually all coat and tie. You may find some that are law firm casual, which is coat and the tie without the tie. But dress up in your professional apparel first day, and then take it from there. You'll be able to figure that out pretty quickly. They'll expect you to be highly professional. You know how to do that. Piece of wisdom that I would impart on this, it's especially important that you treat the support staff with tremendous respect. This is true in many, certainly in the United States, but sometimes even more so in other countries. And there are many a law firm associate who has failed to last more than a year or two because he or she has been abrupt, arrogant, or difficult to deal with respect to the support staff. Lawyers in the firm know how to take care of you if you get out of line. Support staff, not so much. So treat everybody very appropriately, professionally. And we would like to think that you're a great ambassador for Santa Clara's Law School, Santa Clara's program. And the year after you go there, we'd like to place some of our students in that setting. You could help us do that. All right, final point before encouraging you to send in your questions to me or to our Center for Global Law website. As you're exiting, as you're leaving the interview, a few pieces of suggestion. Leave it in very good form. Before you try and get an exit interview with your field placement supervisor or his or her designee, in that you want to find out how they think you did, if there's some things that you can take with you. Don't be quick to volunteer criticisms of how the office worked, or people weren't nice to me, or the water wasn't cold, whatever. I think the important thing is to, at this exit, to show your appreciation. Because one thing you got to remember, they spent a lot more on you in terms of time, manpower, and that sort of thing than they got from you. And so this is very much something that is intended to be beneficial for your professional careers. And so treat them with appreciation, but also ask them if there are some advice they can give you, certainly any comments they have on how well you did. Um, so that's also a great time as you're exiting from a successful placement to talk about contacts and references while you're on the site. If you want that field supervisor, his or her designee, to agree to serve as a reference for you, you want to ask them there. And then when you're on the flight coming back to the States here, build that into your resume. These are every bit as significant and as helpful as placements in the law firms here in San Francisco or the DA's office or what have you. Often these are major international organizations, companies, law firms, tremendous experience that you can get if it was a successful one. Be sure that when you leave that you've completed all your assignments for them. We really disfavor this idea, well, yeah, okay, I'll get that memo into you after I get back to the States. Try and get everything done before you go, even if you end up spending more than 50 hours during that week. Final request that we have on this, in order to complete the course, you'll be given a assessment survey. This is kind of like a class evaluation form that we'll send you, and we want to know very much about your experience in that setting, what worked well, what didn't. And as I mentioned, that your supervisor's assessment of your performance in your weekly summary reports, reflective pieces, will form the basis for the faculty supervisor's grade in that course. So with that, send us your questions, have a great experience, and I'm going to be directing the Tokyo program and working with our externs that are connected to that program. So I'll look forward to additional interactions with you, but if you do need some additional assistance during the summer, please let me know. Thank you.